We begin with news specialist Jed Bull, who is live at the University of Utah, where researchers there are hopeful at this time. Jed?
Yeah, Mike, so many of the scientists in our community who right now are working on the world's biggest problem for years have worked quietly in their labs. For 2 decades, 2 biochemists here at the University of Utah have been working on attacking the HIV virus, and some of those strategies may now help them in their work against COVID-19.
HIV and the virus that causes COVID-19 have a lot of similarities in the way that they attack the cell.
That's the key as Dr. Michael Kay and Dr. Debbie Eckert shift focus from HIV to the coronavirus. For 20 years, Kay's lab has explored how HIV gets into human cells to start an infection. They developed a drug called CPT-31 to block that process.
When COVID came along, we were eager to see if we could help in the fight by adapting what we've learned from our HIV experience and applying it to COVID.
In this familiar image of the coronavirus, the red proteins coating the virus are called spike proteins.
That is what coronavirus uses to get into host cells. And HIV has a very similar protein on the outside that it uses as well.
In their lab, they learned how to target that protein as HIV gets into cells and block that process.
Since coronavirus uses something very similar, we're hoping we can use the same type of strategies to block the coronavirus spike protein from doing what it needs to do in order to get into a host cell.
Those tools and techniques can greatly accelerate the drug discovery process so that we can take those lessons and apply them much more rapidly to emerging infectious diseases.
Investments made in lab work for HIV, SARS, and Ebola are paying off now because they do not need to start from scratch.
It really does feel like, my whole career has been leading up to working on this project.
Dr. Kay tells me no individual idea is likely to work, so global collaboration is critical.
This is really unprecedented. People are sharing their data and resources at an incredibly fast rate.
Thankful for the hard work of graduate students, postdoctoral trainees, and staff scientists, essential workers responding to the pandemic.
I think it's pretty exciting as a scientist to see a problem, to know that you're trained to address it, and to be able to have an impact.
Yeah, and we're all glad that they're working on it. Dr. Kay tells me that the current emergency surrounding the pandemic is really testing the limits of how quickly and safely scientists can develop any kind of drugs. While they work as rapidly as they can, they tell me that it would take a couple of years in order to develop and test any new drug. Guys?
Wow, 20 years of research, though, Jed. Very interesting. Thanks.